JC, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. So I have a question for you. Did you think last year at this time that today you would be a homeowner?
Um, what was I doing last year in March? No, definitely not. I was at my old job. I was going through a lot of life changes actually. Um, yeah, I believe a year ago I was going through a breakup. So
Okay.
my life was kind of going in a I don't want to say turned upside down because it was mutual. It wasn't like a bad breakup or anything, but it kind of does shake your world a bit where you're like, well, I don't know. What does the future hold? I had these plans. Now they're, you know, disappeared. But I think that I knew that I wanted something different by March. I don't think I would have ever guessed it would have been home ownership or even the job that I have now or where I'm at now. Um, I could have never imagined I would have been here. I guess that's like the beauty of God. Like you think you want something and maybe you don't get it, but you get something tenfold because He knows
Right.
what's best for you. So, yeah, though, no, I didn't think I would be a homeowner
Yeah.
now.
Well, cool. So let's kind of back up because it was well, some of the challenges are, and we'll talk about this a little later, is the challenge that young people face with home ownership. So let's back up a little bit. You graduated from Grundy,
Hmm.
right? And I remember you telling me. So like right after that, you traveled some. You lived
Hmm.
in some different countries. So kind of, if you want to, kind of back up about what you did after graduation, school, and things, and kind of where you landed up where you're at right now in your career.
So I graduated high school. I ended up dating the foreign exchange student Leo. We're still very I'm very close with his family, but I'm from Grundy, and so I never really got to travel much. We're kind of right in the middle of Tennessee. My family didn't travel much, and whenever I started dating him, it kind of became a conversation of like maybe I can go to France, which just was mind blowing. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I'd really ever left the state. So to think about going overseas was crazy.
hmm
And I remember that I was just like, no, I could never do that. And then one of my teachers, my Spanish teacher, Jessica Reed, she was like, well, why can't you? I was like, you're right. Why can't I? And so I ended up getting 3 jobs that half of the year. I worked at Sonic. I was a car hop. I worked at the Dutch Made Bakery. I worked at a little Italian bistro in McMinnville. So all of these jobs to make some money to afford my plane ticket. And I really did not know what I was getting myself into, but bought the plane ticket, and then I think it was in June. June, I was on a plane for the first time and flew overseas, and I kind of have been hooked ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I love travel, but there's something about solo travel or just trying to figure it out by yourself, that it just really makes you like realize you can do anything. You can do anything you put your mind to, even when it's scary. So I traveled to France, and then I did that on and off for about 2.5 years,
hmm
back and forth to France. I spent my summers and Christmases there. Um, and yeah, it was life changing, really. I would not be who I am today without him and his family and France. I mean, it really does feel like a second home for me still to this day.
Yeah. So I kind of like what you said there because I think a lot of people, when you don't really get to experience things, you limit yourself.
Hmm.
You put yourself in a box like, oh, this is my circumstance. I could never do that.
Hmm.
So it's good that you had the teacher that kind of give you that encouragement,
Yeah.
right? To kind of push you along
Hmm.
because, if you wouldn't have taken that experience, I mean, I haven't experienced France. Jessica wants to go, and I'm like, maybe sometime.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Um, but
awesome.
so that's great that you got to experience that when you easily could have just been, pushed into a corner and, always been wondering about, oh, what may have been. So
Hmm.
now, didn't you go live in another country?
I did. I lived in Mexico for half a year as well. It was during COVID, so I backtrack. I was in college right after I went to Berea College, which is another thing my teachers pushed me to do. Yeah, I would not have went to college. My teachers really like helped me the most in high school. I don't know who I would be without them. They supported me through so much. Even my college interview, Karen Dickerson drove me to and from my interview, which was 4 hours one way. She just took time out of her day to do that. So I really would not have been able to do really anything without my teachers. But went to Berea College, sophomore year, around March, so around this time, COVID breaks out. No one knows what's going on. The world's
Yeah.
ending. Everything's shutting down. Um, and Berea was one of the first colleges in the country to actually shut down. And so I didn't really have anywhere to live. I ended up living with, can I say names on here? Like David and Missy Lowry. Do you know them?
Yeah.
They took me in. I lived with them. Missy helped me get a job at Exceptional Enterprises, so I worked there for a bit. Um, and then after that summer, I came back, and college, we were able to live there again, except it was incredibly strict. Like, we couldn't be seen 5 foot, like, around somebody, even outside. We couldn't bring our cars. We couldn't get in cars. I mean, it was crazy. And there was the option to go virtual as well. And so I was like, you know what? Like, I miss traveling. It's been a while. I want to travel again, but I want to like make it meaningful. And so I went on, oh, what is it called? It's a website basically full of nonprofits that really need workers
Hmm.
and Workaway. That's what it's called, Workaway. And they will pay for your housing, or they'll give you free housing, maybe some meals in exchange for your labor. And yes. Mm-hmm. So there's my
That's
housing.
interesting.
So I was like,
Okay.
okay, there's a place to live, and also I can be like volunteering and doing something. And so there were so many. I mainly was focused on, there was a childcare section and an animal section. And I was looking at some in Japan, I was looking at some in Thailand, and then there was this one that popped up in Mexico, and it was in the state of Guerrero, which is like one of the like most dangerous like
Mm-hmm.
states in Mexico. And so it popped up. I was like, heck no.
I
Skipped
was
it.
like,
Skipped
is
it.
that where you went? Holy
Yeah,
smokes!
skipped it. Well, so a couple days went by, and this one from Guerrero just stuck in my heart. Like, I was like, why am I thinking of this one? Like, this is crazy. Like, it's near Zihuatanejo. I don't know if you've ever saw like Shawshank Redemption. That's
Oh yeah.
where the
Okay.
ending in Zihuatanejo. It was near Zihuatanejo, and it just stayed on my heart. And so I looked it back up, and I was like, Lord, I have no idea why like this specific nonprofit is like on my heart. It was called Surfers for Strays. I was like, well, like maybe I'll apply. Like, it doesn't mean that I'll go for sure. And I applied, and I had 2 interviews, and they were both from women, which was like a very inspiring thing for me, because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, like they're 2 women, like they are very, they seem safe and secure. And I asked those questions too in my interviews, like, is it safe for me as a solo female traveling? Like, what is it like day to day living? And they were like, no, it's fine. Like, it was like a little pueblo to the south of Zihuatanejo called Troncones, and yeah, it really was just like a small pueblo. Like, sometimes they didn't have electricity. A lot of places still didn't have water. So I had my interview, and I was like, you know what, like, I prayed on it, and this really feels right. So I accepted my offer. And my family actually, we're all from Grundy, like from early 1800s. My family's not left. And so when I started traveling, like whenever I went to France, my family was not
Yeah.
happy because they were worried about my safety,
Sure.
right? Like getting on a
Yeah.
plane and
Yeah,
all
I'm
these
about to go to
things.
Mexico, right?
Yeah.
As a single, yeah,
Well, it was
as a female.
funny because my Nana, I called her, so she's the
Nana
worst one.
Sherry.
Yes, the worst one to tell when I'm
I
traveling.
hope Nana Sherry's listening. I love it when they pull pranks on Nana Sherry. It's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, we are very much like 2 peas in a pod. She's crazy. But I think that's why we butt heads so much, is we were just so similar. But I had to break the news to her I was traveling
Oh,
again.
I could imagine how that went.
So I called her and I said, Nana, I'm leaving the country again. And she said a word I can't say on here. She's like, dang it, Jacey. And then she's like, well, as long as it's not Mexico.
Oh,
She said that.
then
I was like,
you
what?
had to break that to
And we
her.
had never talked about Mexico ever. And I was like, oh, Lord, Nana, it is. She said some more words I can't say on here. So that really didn't go over well. But once I was there, she calmed down a bit. It really was like very safe, very amazing.
Yeah.
and yeah, I helped a bunch of doggies. So yeah, Service for Strays is a 501c3. It's a dog rescue. There's a lot of stray dogs in Mexico, and the culture's a little different. And so yeah, we spent a lot of time just rescuing, rehabilitating dogs, and then a lot of them we would send out to California. That's where their main like adoptee program was, because it was just so close, I guess, on the coast. But
Well, that's interesting. Now, I didn't even know there was a program that would allow you to go and kind of
mhm,
work and trade off for that. And
mhm,
you got experience in other countries. So, well, that's cool. And so at that point, how long did you work in Mexico?
6 months.
So you working
Like
there?
right up until my visa was expired, and it was really scary actually because my the day I was supposed to leave, my COVID test didn't come back in time, so I missed
Oh,
my
so you
flight.
were going, yeah.
I missed my flight.
You had to be cleared. I remember those days. You had to be
Yeah,
cleared,
had
and
to reschedule and all that. I got cleared, and then I repacked that night. I forgot. I repacked, and I had a little guitar, so I started playing guitar in Mexico. I had a little guitar. I was going to use it as my carry-on, and I'd put my exit visa in there as my carry-on, and I completely forgot. And I ended up repacking and putting it in my checked bag. So I checked my exit visa,
oh no.
and I also set on my debit card right before I left 6 months prior. So all I had was cash, and I mean it's by the grace of God. I got to Mexico City, that airport, and I had to buy an emergency exit visa, and I had just the right amount of cash, not a dollar less, not a dollar more, to buy my exit visa. I was gonna be stuck there. I was like, I'm
Oh.
gonna have to like start bussing to get a few dollars. I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna afford this exit visa. But man, yeah, I remember when I landed in Georgia, I just cried because I was like, thank God.
Oh,
Like,
you
I was
was like
so
just touch
scared.
and
I
go.
thought I was gonna have to like pick up a side hustle in the airport to make some money. I was so scared.
Wow, I thought I
Yeah.
went through some crazy airport situations with Jessica, but no,
It
you're
was
kind of topping
horrible.
that.
It was horrible.
Uh,
I was so anxious. I don't think I actually ever told my family because they would have killed me. So
definitely don't need to tell Nana Sherry about that.
it's
She
too
might be
late
hearing it now.
now. Too late now. Yeah, every
Exactly.
time they ask me about my travels, I'm like, good, easy.
Yeah,
Nothing
fine.
happened. All good. It's never all good.
That's
Never.
funny.
I'm so unlucky.
So when you got back, where did that take you after that?
Went back to college, finished, got my degree. I studied abroad in Honduras for a summer, which was really cool. I did
Okay.
scuba diving and ocean
Oh
data
wow.
research. I really like. I learned French whenever I was in France, but then I got to learn Spanish in Mexico and then on to
You speak
Honduras.
them both pretty fluently.
Not fluently.
Yeah.
I used to. I would say pretty well, but now, man, it's been so long. I really need to get back into it. It's hard too because it's like I'll be speaking Spanish, but then a word will pop up that's French. It's so hard to
You
like
mixed the two together.
distinguish, and it's hard too because it's like different genders and words and stuff. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think. La mer is like the ocean in French, but then El Mar is the
Oh,
ocean in
it's
Spanish.
almost like Pig Latin, right?
Yeah, right.
In each language.
Yeah,
So
so it's like they're just different. Like they're just different gendered and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I need to
and
get back in
so
there.
yeah, I didn't. So you went to Honduras, huh?
Hmm.
And how long were you there?
Just like a month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't so long.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So you France, Mexico, and Honduras,
Mhm.
all those travels, and
Yeah.
then, and so when did you end up finishing college?
December of 2022. I had an extra semester just because of COVID and everything, but I'm glad I did because it gave me the ability to travel, obviously. It's so weird, too. Like, thinking back, I was remote in Mexico, and I mean, I really didn't have Wi Fi so much, and my teachers were so chill. Like, I'd be like, hey, y'all, I don't have Wi Fi today. They'd be like, that's okay, girl. Okay. Like, I just think my teachers were so supportive, but that semester kind of just felt like a joke. Like, it's just so funny. I think
Yeah.
we all were just fed up. Like, we were like, this
Well,
is
right
crazy.
during COVID, and so you experienced COVID through the college days. There's
Hmm.
some that experienced it through the high school. I was in, working career. That's when the world went completely remote.
Hmm.
From everybody going into
Yes.
offices to, I'm sure
Don't leave your
Wi-Fi's were bogged
house.
down because everybody was working
Hmm.
on the internet. So it was definitely crazy times. So when you graduated college, did you enter right into the workforce? Did you do some more traveling?
No, I entered right into the workforce. I was a reading teacher in Frankfort, Kentucky for half a year. Because I graduated, but I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. So, back in high school, I was like first gen college, but also like first gen high school, I guess. Like, neither of my parents, I think my mom got her GED eventually, but I really didn't have that perspective from family to tell me, to guide me. I think a lot of people, their whole high school experience, they're working towards college or something
Mm-hmm.
bigger. I didn't really have, I had my teachers pushing me, but that was it. So I was very lost in the sauce, to put it lightly. Like, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no like aspirations per se. I'd never thought about it. It kind
Mm-hmm.
of just didn't seem attainable or real. So then when I was in college, I was just lost. It was very hard. College was very hard for me the first couple of years. And finally, after COVID, maybe my brain developed a little bit more. I kind of had my footing under me, and also travel really helped me grow and like myself and trust myself. And I decided to major in communication because I really was interested in like nonprofit management work and stuff. But I really like kids too. And so I was like, maybe I want to be a teacher. So
Yeah.
I was a teacher for half a year, loved my kids, but man, I was pouring out of an empty cup every day.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I learned pretty quick that maybe that route's not for me, but it was a very, very important experience for me to have, because I know now. Um, and then I remember I was just exhausted every day. I wasn't making a lot of money at all, really, so I didn't have the ability to do like extracurriculars. So I really was working and sleeping, and that's it. And I remember praying, like, Lord, where do you want me to go? Like, like, lead me, give me something. And I remember feeling like it was time to come back to Grundy, which was a crazy concept for me because I remember when I left here, I was like, I will never be back. I just didn't have a good experience. Like I said, my high school time and stuff, I was like, I'll never come home. Like, this is not my home anymore. I'm gone. And but the more I prayed on it, I really just felt like, oh, maybe it is time to like try again. Maybe it is time to go back home. And it was weird how it worked. It was just kind of like one day, it was like bam, my aunt and uncle, Sissy and Brian, they had a house that they were using to like host missionaries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the missionaries had stopped coming, so I had an available house that I could move into, and then um, I moved into it without really a plan, and then all of a sudden, like several job opportunities popped up, which I ended up at Mountaintop, a Christian nonprofit, and it kind of was just weird how it all just like fell right in front of me. But again, it took the leap of trusting God because I really was like, I don't know about this. Like,
Yeah.
I said I would never come back. I don't know why it's on my heart now to do that. But yeah, left Frankfurt, came back home, and yeah, I worked at Mountaintop for 2.5 years, which was great. I really got to grow in my faith because I kind of lost my faith on and off throughout high school and college, but I knew it was something I really wanted in my life. It just was really hard because, again, I didn't have that guidance, and was working through a lot of stuff. And so I'm really grateful for Mountaintop, and I do believe God led me to that direction because it really helped me grow in community and serve in, his name and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's weird looking back how you can see how God kind of laid the path,
Yeah.
but in the moment it just feels like turmoil, like you just don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's neat to hear your story because I love how in so many places you've mentioned about how his timing has showed up and his timing's perfect.
It is.
Maybe not on ours, but
Yeah,
his is
it doesn't
working.
feel perfect in the moment.
Exactly. Exactly. So now I want to go back because you had mentioned first gen college.
hmm
And you had mentioned that, it's kind of, there was times that you was like, so what kept you? So kind of how did you get above that, the noise of saying you'll never make it through college, you're a first gen, you're going to do just like, it's never going to happen. Like it's not in the cards for you, family. Like what pushed you to get that degree? Like what pushed you to make
um
it through?
You know, I think taking it day by day and leaning on those who did believe in me. Um, like a lot of my teachers too pushed me right out the gate, so I always had their support. But also, I think I just knew I wanted more for myself, even though I didn't know what that looked like or how to get there. So I focused a lot on like healing myself, like rewiring my thought process. I put myself in therapy right into college, and I was in therapy my entire time there. So I think really like leaning on others, but also learning to trust myself, which was really hard because I'd grown up really learning to not do that. If I would try to trust myself, I almost felt like I was like punished for it in some ways. So I really had to rewire my brain to think like, you know what you're doing, you know what you want, like
Yeah.
you can do it. It's easier said than done though. It was very, very hard.
Right.
Lots of
Well,
very hard
and
times.
I think that's the important thing is the mindset, right? Because you got
Hmm.
voices in your head. You got the voices in your head, and
Yes.
unfortunately, sometimes it's the louder voice that is just like just bearing down on you. But you got to focus. You got to get your mindset day to day, and just take it a day at a time.
Hmm.
Accomplish that, and then be ready for the next day. And then the next thing you know, you are a college graduate, first gen
Yes.
college graduate.
Yes.
So
It goes by so fast, but also in the moment it's very slow. Like
yeah,
it's weird to look back and think, wow, I'm almost 26.
right.
Because I remember being like 17 and sitting and graduating high school and being like, I never thought I would be here. Like I don't know what happens now. It's
Yeah.
almost 10 years ago. That's
What
crazy.
would you tell that person that may be listening that they're contemplating? And Jessica and I have had the conversation about college, and I'm it's not for everyone,
Hmm.
and I think it's evolved a lot more, but maybe it's someone that they're thinking in their mind, kind of like you, they're going to be the first one in their family, but they're having those negative thoughts. So what would you do to encourage them to follow that path? If it is college that they want to pursue,
Hmm.
to do that.
I think that Jessica Reed, my old Spanish teacher, she gave me some really good advice because I remember telling her, I was like, man, 4 years to get a degree, like 4 years is a long time. And she was like, well, 4 years is going to pass regardless. So, like, you can end those 4 years with a degree or maybe like something else. That really put it into perspective of like, the time's going to pass anyways. It's not going to be a waste.
Right.
It's going to pass. You can end it however you want. I think also I went to Berea College, which they really focus on first generation college students. So I
Okay.
think that also helped too in the sense of I had a little bit of extra support there. A lot of my peers were first gen, which helps me also feel like I belonged because, I think of like UTK, which would have been a cool experience, like the
It was.
fraternity sorority,
Well, I didn't do
right?
the fraternity, but
Yeah,
it was a fun
yeah.
experience.
So it's like that's big college, a lot of um a,
Orange.
a lot of orange, right? Yeah. A lot of parents, helping their kids move in and going to their parents' alma maters, like that sort of
Hmm.
experience. I just knew that if I were to have chosen that, I would have probably felt like an outsider because I just don't have that collective experience. And I honestly didn't even know. I just didn't know what college was. I know that sounds crazy, but I just really was lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
And so Berea, they had all of these opportunities like free tuition. I got like a full ride. A lot of the teachers are very like compassionate with first gen college students. A lot of my peers were first gen, so we were going through kind of the same things together and things like that. So that really helped too. So yeah, it's funny. It's a very hard college. They call it the Harvard of the South. It really is a difficult college, but looking back, I'm like, if you are a first gen, I highly recommend applying because you will come out stronger. You'll have that support, and I graduated almost debt free and have a degree.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's awesome.
hmm
That's great. So you worked at Mountaintop for a bit, and then obviously that took you to where you're at right now, working at right now, and that kind of alludes into the whole home purchase and kind of
yes,
where you contacted me. And I'll be honest, when you called me, I'm like, here's the way time goes. I'm like, isn't she still like really, really? And you are young. Don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking, didn't she just graduate
yeah.
college or like what's going on? And so we got to talk. So let's talk a little bit about that home buying experience. Um, right now, a lot of people I talk to, they're just discouraged. They're discouraged because of affordability. They're discouraged because a lot of people kind of have their vision on the perfect house, the dream house, and it's ridiculously priced and
Yes.
wages and jobs and things like that. So let's talk about your experience though. So I remember you called me up and I'm still thinking, okay, I remember you from when you were really little. And but I saw you had it together. and then from that point, it was for us to build a plan.
Mhm.
But so that was my experience from it. So you tell me about your experience from it, from having to pick up that phone. And, I know you worked with your Aunt Debbie,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
from the perspective of being like, whoa, this can happen,
Mhm. So I was still living in Grundy and I applied to, I knew I was ready to step out of my mountaintop job. So I applied to several jobs. The job market is atrocious. At least it was 6 months ago. I don't know if it's any better today. I applied to so many jobs and I got a few callbacks, and one of them was for the state prison in Pikeville. And I was
Okay.
like, that's crazy. I was like, I would never work there.
Yeah.
I would never work there. And I was like, I mean, I'll go for the interview or
Right.
whatever, but there's no way I'm accepting it. And then I went into my interview, and again, there was a woman, a very powerful woman who was interviewing me. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's inspiring. Like, if she can do it, I feel like I
Yeah.
can do it. And I had a really good interview, and I just got to thinking and praying on it, and it just felt right. It was weird. I mean, you know me, I'm a small female. And I'm like, well, I mean, might as well. I don't know. The pay was really good. The benefits were really good. It's a state job. I never had that.
Hmm.
I come from nonprofit work. So that job essentially doubled my salary. And so I was like, I guess I'll try it. And I went through the academy. I got pepper sprayed,
Oh,
all this
yeah. How
stuff.
was that?
Worst thing I've ever felt. I'm not joking. Like, you think
That could be a good podcast, Caleb. I think maybe one day I'll pepper spray you on the podcast, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, he said he's going to pass, but hey,
um
wow, more power to you.
yeah, you think when you get pepper sprayed it's like a stinging feeling. Like, I thought maybe shampoo in the eye times 10.
Yeah, no,
I don't know how to explain it. You just lose your, it doesn't even sting. It's like my eyes have been gouged out by a knife. Like, I swear.
I mean,
I
and
can't
so
explain it.
I have been around where people are playing with pepper spray and like spray it in the air,
Yeah.
just generally in the air, and even the mist of it, you kind of like, oh god, and then you're
Yes.
like, but I
And
can't imagine just direct on
well, and
spray.
also the pepper spray you get at like the store isn't the level of like the kind you use in
It's
prison.
the watered down at the
Yeah.
store, and
So
the
we got sprayed with like the actual, like, the real
non-diluted,
stuff.
like it's coming at you.
Oh my god. I mean, I remember after, like, you just can't feel your face, and I was like, I think I took that pretty well. It took me like 40 minutes to decon.
Did they video you or anything?
No, I
Oh, dang.
wish. I do wish, because I was like, man, like, I feel like I took that pretty well. Like, my nose didn't run at all, and my friends were like, girl, your nose was running. I mean, it's like my whole face was numb. And then the worst part, even, you can't see, and you're deconning, and you can't use water to decon. They make you like decon by yourself, like decontaminate. So I'm like sitting in this grass, and I'm like having like primal instincts. I'm like, I gotta take my shirt off. I don't know, but I just like, I don't know, but my first instinct was like, I gotta take my clothes off. Like, I gotta get this off of me. And finally I deconned. And then I got in the shower that night, and it reactivated. It reactivates with water. So I went through round 2.
Did they tell you this?
Yeah, they did, but
You just forgot?
I didn't.
You remember pretty quick though, didn't you?
I was like, I was showering, and I was like, it's not doing it. Oh, maybe I did really good at deconning. Oh no. And I was like washing my hair, and then all of a sudden I was just like burning, and I hurried real quick, and then I got out, and I just stood in front of an air conditioner for like 2 hours. And it was rough. It didn't hurt as bad as when I first got sprayed. When I first got sprayed, it took my breath away. And they make
When you first, wait a minute, you got sprayed multiple times?
when I first got sprayed, like the original event
Oh, okay.
hurt worse than when I got
when
reactivated.
it reactivated. I got
But
you. Okay.
they make you like, you got to go through like this course, and then you have to answer 2 questions.
Now you don't have to do this like on a monthly basis.
No, one and done.
How do you think you would react to it now? Still the same?
Still the same.
Yeah.
They do it because they want you to know, in case you ever get hit, like if you're in a fight or if you spray an inmate and it gets on you, to know what to expect. And it's like, I do know what to expect now. However, I would react the exact same way. I'd probably be trying to take my shirt off. I don't know. It was funny too, watching other people's reactions. Like my friend Logan was like literally pawing the grass and just ripping it up. Like, I don't know, he was going to town. And then there was another guy beside me who was like screaming for his mom. It's just so
I
funny.
I'll be screaming probably for my mom and
Yeah.
everybody. That was
Yeah, and they ask you 2 questions, and you have to answer them. They don't have to be the correct answer.
you
Um,
just gotta talk.
I was so mad though because some people's questions were like, "What color's the sky?" or like, "What was your high school mascot?" And I remember my first question was like, "What is the sauce that is blended up with chilies?" Blah blah blah. It lasted for like 20 seconds. I was so mad, and finally when they got done, I was like, "Ramen noodle packet."
It's just
They took
whatever.
it.
It doesn't matter.
I
You're
was
like
mad. I was
they
like,
just
why'd they get quick questions? I'm over here fighting for my life.
now you didn't have to get tased too, did you?
No,
Oh,
no, no,
okay.
no,
I've seen
no.
people get tased. Like that's another
Yeah.
thing I'm out on.
If I go up for promotion, I'll have to. That's something I'll tackle when I get there. But honestly, I think I'd rather ride the lightning than get pepper sprayed again. I'm so serious. That was horrible. That was horrible.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So
horrible.
um
Don't recommend.
that was a fun story. So so that puts you to where you're at, and the lady was very inspiring to kind of show you,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is not, I mean, because when I think of prison, I think of the same thing. Your correction officers generally big men,
Yeah.
things like that. But it's good that you kind of had that
Mm-hmm.
role model interviewing you to say, hey, there's more opportunity here than just what the perspective is.
Yes.
So it kind of helped you settle there. So you took the job there, and then obviously that was a big drive for you. And
Yes, I was like, I got through the academy, and then you don't get to choose where you're at when you're first put in. So I was put on night shift, still am on night shift, but I get moved off in April.
oh, good.
But yeah, I was like almost killing myself driving home because I was so tired. I'd work 12 hours, sometimes 16. Would have to drive an hour and a half, go to sleep, wake up, drive an hour and a half back. It just was unsustainable. And so I was like, okay, like I guess I need to start looking at moving closer. So I was looking at all of these, like trying to find places to rent. Like it didn't even click in my mind that I could buy. There was just nothing to rent. And I remember thinking like, well, I've heard people say, like if you buy a house, you're kind of paying the same amount that you would be paying in rent. You just would be owning it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that sounds like great, but like, I don't know. I'm too young. I don't know the process. I don't know how to even start the process, blah, 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 blah. And luckily my great aunt is a realtor. So I started talking to her a bit, and, she's like, yeah, you can absolutely do that. I was like, really? It just kind of seemed unattainable. And yeah, I was like, okay. And she's like, just start looking. And so obviously I found a house 1st. I
Mm-hmm.
got pre-approved. So I guess I had to go, I think I talked to you first to get pre-approved. So I kind of knew my,
Like your affordability,
yeah,
kind
my
of knowing that
affordability,
your
like
payment and the things.
yeah,
Yeah.
the range to look
Right.
at. And so I found this house. It was so cute. It was right at my limit, and it was like this really cute like A-frame cabin, and I was like, this one's perfect. I love it.
Yeah. I
And
remember this one.
I was at work one night. I was just telling a coworker, I was like, I think I found the one. I've got a tour tomorrow. And she's like, oh, what's it look like? What's it look like? And I looked it up, and she's like, you don't want that house.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? And she's like, it's haunted. And I was like, ha ha ha. I know it looks haunted, but it's not. And she's like, no, Jacey, it's haunted. She's like, I swear I saw this exact house on like one of those TV documentaries
Yeah.
with like haunted. I was like, no way. And she's like, I swear, like this house is right down the road from me. It's this house. And then later on through the night, she actually found the episode, and it was that house.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. And so that morning I got out of work and I called Debbie and I said, cancel it. I'm not. And the worst part was we watched the documentary, and it was like specifically a demon that hates women.
That's
like,
crazy.
That's my luck. Thank God. Like another God moment. Like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Thank God that I showed her that house, or I'd be living in a house with a demon that hates women.
Well, Debbie had texted me, and she's like, no. And then she texted me, I think it's on Netflix, like the Netflix series. She sent
It's
me
bad.
that. I
It's
was like,
scary.
oh, wow.
It is
that's
so
really
scary.
interesting.
Well, it was like, yeah, 3 or 4 people had died in the house, and it was right by the cemetery. I don't know. So I'm just grateful I showed someone that house before I toured it. So yeah, that one was out of the question. So looking again, and I found this really cute house, and I reached out to the realtor, and she didn't get back to me. And I posted on Facebook finally. I was like, does anyone have any places for sale? My cousin Autumn posted this exact house that I was looking at in the comments. I said, I tried to reach out to the realtor. She didn't answer me. And then Autumn was like, you know that Dalton and Emily, two people I went to high school with, you know that they own the house. I was like, no. So I got a hold of them. And then from there, I was able to like tour the house. But it just so happened that it was two people I went to high school with that own this house, two great people. And I went and toured it. It was so fun. We had a lot of fun. They were telling me about all of the like quirks, and they left me so much too. I mean, they left me their dishes, the couch, the rug, the island, everything. And so yeah, it was just meant to be. After that tour, and they're really good people too. I was like, I want it. So that's when I put in the offer. And then from there, it still kind of felt unreal because I was like, am I really buying a house right now? But really, you and I guess Debbie really handled a lot of it behind the scenes. Like, I felt like I did some stuff, but there was so much happening behind the scenes that I didn't even know about. And it was just so easy, just
Yeah.
so easy.
Did you think going into it though? Because I'm glad that we made that part of it
Mhm.
easy. There is a lot going on behind the
Mhm.
scenes between, what my team does and just the whole financing part of that. But did you think going into it, the challenges that you may face or the possibility that it would even happen? Like, was there that kind of that voice back in your head being like, oh, you're way too young. This is not going to
Yeah,
happen?
I actually had people in my life telling me like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you buying a house? That doesn't make sense. Like, that's like a big commitment. Like, you don't even know if you want to live there long term. You're too young. Why don't you wait until you're married? All of these things. And I just was like, I don't want to wait to be married. Like, I don't want to spend my whole life waiting on, because I don't know when that'll happen. And
Right.
I've been solo, all my life. um I wanted it to be on my terms. And so I actually, in my head, I felt, because I had you and Debbie support, I felt pretty good about it, but I had a lot of outside noise.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you sure? Like, what are you doing? Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't understand why you're doing it. And I did it.
Yeah.
And it's great. I'm so blessed. Yeah, I'm so grateful. But yeah, I definitely had a lot of outside noise coming in, questioning my
So,
decisions.
what would you tell people that they're probably hearing that same noise? Like, I know the young generation is hearing a few things. I know that they're hearing similar things. Oh, it's way too expensive to buy a
Mm-hmm.
home right now. The affordability is crazy. The interest rate's crazy. Like, they're hearing all of this stuff. But the one thing that I remember when you and I were talking after you bought your home, and I love this. I actually have it posted, a post-it note over there, and you said this house isn't great for a family, but it's perfect for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was great because so many people have a perspective that if they're going to buy a home, even if they're a single individual, even if they're young married, oh, it's got to be this 3 bedroom, two
Yeah.
bathroom, it's got to be this and this. When really it doesn't have to be perfect for anyone else. It has to be perfect for you.
Yeah.
So what would you tell people that are kind of in that? They're hearing all the chirping and oh, there's no way, and the interest
Mm-hmm.
rates are too high, and the payments are too high, and you know you should just do something else. Like,
Yeah.
what would you tell them in regards to that?
I think that, so I've been working on my credit for a few years. So I think having my credit score higher really helped me in the process. My payment is the same as someone paying rent. It might even be cheaper. Um, is it okay to like give numbers on here, like a ballpark? I pay like 1,200 a month in like my mortgage. That's a lot of people's rent,
Yeah.
starting out rent. So it's like I am paying 1,200, and it's going back to me technically. It's like this loan,
Well, because
this
every
good
time
debt
you're
that I
paying
have.
it, yeah. So there's a couple of things that people don't quite. I'm glad you brought that up. People don't quite understand. Historically, properties appreciate on average 4 to 5%.
Hmm.
So every year, that large asset that you just bought,
Hmm.
which I can't remember your exact purchase price, but let's just round it to 200,000.
Hmm.
That means each year it's increasing by approximately 5%,
Hmm.
$10,000. Well, not only when you're making that payment, then it's almost like you're putting right now it's very small, but every time you see that principal payment, it's almost like that amount is going into a savings account, which is the
Yes.
equity in your home,
Hmm.
which is going to set you up for the next home, whenever that may be.
Yes. And then also, after I bought it and stuff and got it appraised. It actually was appraised 10,000 more than I even paid for it. So already the idea is like I already got like positive equity in
Right.
this. Also it is perfect for me, but it has a few things that could be fixed. Like there's a part in the kitchen floor, some of the trim, blah blah blah. And that was also appealing to me too, because that's things I can fix to further raise the cost, you know? So it was little things like that too. It's like the tiniest fixer upper that I can eventually make those changes, and maybe get a little bit money back from that or raise the equity of it even more.
Yeah.
So it kind of was just like a perfect recipe for me.
And I
Um,
think I'm glad you mentioned the repairs too, because a lot of people think the home, when you go through it, like it's got to be just outstandingly perfect.
mhm.
And then they put in their head the same thing. They put that noise in their head. Oh, or maybe a family member or a parent or somebody walks through. Oh, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do this. And it pushes them back because
Mhm.
then they just hear that. And, oh, well, home ownership's this. And I'm like, well, what else do you want them to do?
Right.
Like,
Right.
what's the other objective? You could go rent somewhere and you still have obstacles because
Mhm.
maybe the landlord doesn't fix what you want them to fix.
Right.
You're living in bare necessities. So
Yeah.
I think that's important as people kind of explore, like there's a certain aspect of being real with the
Mhm.
expectations versus watching HGTV and,
Right.
getting everything there.
Right.
So, um, well, awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're in the home.
Mhm.
Everything's going good, right? You've been in it a few
It's
months.
great. It's great. And also, you just reminded me like another noise people would say, yeah, about the well, what if your landlord doesn't fix this? Um, I I lived in my aunt and uncle's home, and like I really did pay for all the repairs. They weren't really my landlord, and so that was something else that a lot of people were like, you're gonna have to, be your own plumber, buy your own plumber, all this stuff. Okay, like that's like I don't know. I just think that's the cost of having a home. Like I think it's a blessing even like to just be able to have the privilege to be a homeowner, like to be
Mm-hmm.
able to be self-sufficient in that way. Like I don't know, the trade-off was just worth it for me cuz I already was doing it, you know? I
Yeah.
was already doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Well, that's great. And, I know I saw you shared with some pictures. You're kind of making it your own, your picture
mhm.
collage, and, as things that now you can invite friends over and just,
Yes.
just that thing that you can be proud of. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
It's awesome. It has a dishwasher. Never had a dishwasher before in my life, like ever. I run that thing constantly. I love it. I love it. It's got like a really good washer and dryer. It's got central heating and air. My old house didn't.
Right.
So I think it's little things too that people it's probably not exciting for them. It's exciting for me,
Yeah.
to be able to walk into my house and it already be like a good temperature, like to not do dishes at night. Like it's just crazy. Like I'm just very happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So when you were growing up, and we talked just a little bit about this, but even growing up, and unfortunately, sometimes in the smaller areas and the more rural areas, it's just more challenging, and there's
Mhm.
just obstacles that play there. So, but when you were growing up, I mean, could you have looked at that 10-year-old and seen yourself in the where you're at right now with it?
Um, no, I don't think so. I don't even think I really knew what a dishwasher was. Like, I don't think I really even knew. And not to say like I didn't like my upbringing. I'm very grateful for how I grew up. We were poor, but we were happy. I
Mm-hmm.
was outside a lot and we had a lot of love in our family. And that's another reason I'm glad I came back to Grundy. I love Grundy. It's I have like a renewed sense of home coming back as an adult. That makes me all the more appreciative of, people from my community, my friends, my family. And yeah, it gives me a new perspective on being a homeowner. I feel like I had a hard upbringing, but I feel like I maybe feel joy a little bit more than the average person just because of, the hardships that I've encountered. But I feel very joyful. I'm just very blessed and thankful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're right. There's this stigma, obviously, that, of Grundy itself. and Jessica being in school, and she has a lot of students that kind of say the similar thing. I can't wait to get out of here. By
Mhm.
that time, they're frustrated with their parents. They think the grass is greener on the other
Mhm.
side. I went off to Knoxville, and then we lived in Manchester and McMinnville. And I don't know, there's something about home there
Mhm.
because it's got some of the best people in the world,
Yes.
some of the best community. Something happens in our area, a lot of people are ready to show
Yep.
up, and so I think a lot of younger people, if they're listening to the podcast, they may be in that mode
Mhm.
that they just want to get out. And some people do leave, and
Mhm.
but and they don't come back. But I think a lot of the people that do leave, like there's the majority of them that either want to come back or it holds something special versus the ones that's like, yes, I'll never turn back and go again.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just the way that it goes. So,
Yeah.
all right, we'll close up a few rapid fire questions.
Okay.
If I turn on your Apple Music or Spotify playlist right now, what are two or three
Oh
songs that are
Lord.
going to pop up?
I was just listening to Gregory Alan Isakov. Do you know him? He's like folky. Do you know Billy
I like
Strings?
folky. I'm terrible with the artists,
Okay.
but if they're along the lines of like Mumford and Sons and
Yeah.
Lumineers and things like that, I
Okay.
would probably really like it.
Sure. Yeah. Billy Strings is very much bluegrass esque, I guess. I would say probably. I know you said songs, but I just can think of
Well,
artists.
just kind
Billy
of
Strings and Kendrick Lamar. Yeah.
okay. So it seems very
I
interesting
listen
for
to
you.
everything, but yeah, those two are probably my last two listened to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Favorite movie of all time?
The Notebook.
Oh, The Notebook. Jessica made me go watch that.
It's good. I've
Yeah,
probably watched it like more than 20 times.
a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay.
So good.
Is there one thing in 2026 that you just really want to do? You've traveled a lot. Have you got some more travel plans, or is there just like the one focus of 2026 that you really want to
Um,
accomplish?
I have several weddings happening this
Oh,
year,
bless
so
your heart.
I know I'm in two of them. I've never been in a wedding before, and so it's kind of crazy. I'm really excited to be a bridesmaid. That my friends and cousin asked me to be a part of their big day.
Yeah.
So really, I think just getting to do these weddings. Then I have like a bridesmaids trip. What is that called? Bachelorette
Uh,
trip, I guess.
Bachelorette
It's to
party
Savannah,
trip.
Georgia in August. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Have you
So
been to
excited.
Savannah?
Yes, once. I love it. Oh,
Jessica likes it too, so
oh, I
we
love
might need to
it.
plan a trip there.
Yes.
I've never been to Savannah.
So beautiful. Whenever I went, whenever you travel and it's either full of young people or it's full of old people, and you're like, okay, this is a place to party or this is a place to retire. Like, that's kind of the vibe. Savannah, it had both, and it had middle-aged families and it had kids playing at parks, and I just like, this is beautiful. Like, this is a place where you live.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love Savannah. I love it. I could so see myself moving there eventually.
Okay. Well,
I love it.
maybe we need to put that circle that date on our calendar
Yeah, it's
to
awesome
take a
there.
trip there. So,
Beautiful.
well, that's awesome. Bucket list items. I mean, you're young and you've traveled. You've already been to France. A lot of people
Yeah.
haven't traveled like that. What's something on your bucket list that you would like to do?
That's hard. I would love to go to Italy.
Okay.
I know that's so cliche, but it's the country of love, and I love Italians. I think that they love very like publicly and proudly. So I really like that culture aspect. I also love the cuisine. I've heard if you have like a gluten intolerance, that doesn't apply in Italy because I'm serious, because their food is so fresh.
Yeah.
So I would love to go to just be able to like eat their food as well. Probably.
Okay.
Maybe also have a pet possum.
I would I guess maybe the true authentic Italian food I might get more into.
Hmm.
Just have a hard time with Italian food. It's just the same over, but
Yeah.
I imagine their pizza and stuff like that
Yeah.
is probably amazing. It's
Hmm.
probably great. Cool. So if you were sitting down with dinner
Hmm.
and you could have any guest in the world,
Alive or dead? Okay.
dead, living, any guest in the
Ooh.
world, who would that guest be?
I think I'd have to say Jesus. That'd be cool.
It's a pretty
That'd
common
be really
answer.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the coolest of the coolest. You know what's interesting too? This is such a sad topic, but it's interesting when, people are like, Lord, just give me a sign, just give me a sign to show me you're real. And I
Yeah.
think back to the days that Jesus was alive and he was there in the flesh doing things and people still didn't believe in him,
Right.
I just think that's so funny that we ask for a sign and there were people who like saw him do things and still didn't believe.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, human
Yeah,
nature
no,
is so
I've
interesting.
thought about that too, and the stories that are told, and obviously, going through the Bible and the witnesses that it told about, and it's a story that's carried on for two
Mhm.
thousand years. You know,
Mhm.
and so those will be questions we kind of get to
Yeah.
ask one day. You
Mhm.
know,
Jessica told me to tell you to check your phone.
okay.
It
Um,
must be something because she texted me.
so yeah, I have to go get the kids. That could have.
Oh,
So
okay.
this part is
My bad.
probably the
No.
I'll
part that
cut
you
that
did.
out. Oh, because I thought it might be more
Yeah.
accurate.
I'm going to shoot her. That's just part of it. So yes, the stories of Jesus, and it'll be it'll be interesting one day. There'll be a lot of questions. I think a lot of people will get answered.
Mhm.
So that'll be pretty awesome. Well, JC, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for telling your story. I think hopefully it will give a lot of encouragement to younger people who just absolutely feel there is no hope for them, like to be able to buy a home. Or maybe it's the person that's listening and is like, there's no chance for me to go to college.
Mhm.
Your story kind of tells them that's completely wrong. Like, you have the ability, you can go to college,
Mhm.
you can do this, you can, like, there's all kinds of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
So, well,
And it
great.
might also, like, I think it's important too. It's hard with social media. I think it's important to remember, like, you don't need the nicest things. You don't need the perfect setup to go to college. You don't need the new car and the new backpack and all of these things. You don't need like the nice furniture and the automatic fridge and all of those things to
Right.
be. I think that's another thing to remember too, is like you're doing it right, the exact way you're doing it. Like, you don't need all of these new things. That's a hard thing to remember
You're
too.
right. I'm glad you kind of brought that up, is because we, especially the younger generation, social media is like boom, in your face, in
Mhm.
your face, in your face, in your face. And they're living a perspective based on what they see as reality that's not really the true reality.
Yeah.
So I think you got to keep yourself grounded to a level there.
Mhm.
So awesome. Were there any questions that I didn't ask you? I should have asked you.
I don't think so.
Oh, well, then I doing a pretty good job in my interviewing skills then. So, all right, JC, thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me. Glad to
Absolutely.
be here.